here's Brody Brazil.
We've known now for quite some time that Major League Baseball was putting forth some specific effort in trying to better understand and also rectify the amount of injuries to its pitchers. In the last decade plus, but especially the last several years, there's been a dramatic spike in arm and elbow injuries to pitchers, and not just starters, but relievers and closers, and not just the major league level, but minor leaguers, college baseball, even down to the high school level. So I do applaud Major League Baseball in taking what quite honestly is a real first step in understanding what's going on here, but also acknowledging what's going on here. Now, we knew, again, that they were doing some of this work. We knew it would conclude in a report just like this, but let me tell you exactly what the report entails. It's 62 pages long. It concludes a year-long study for now, but they also admit that they're not finished. There's more work to be done. More on that in just a second. Yes, they're looking at pitching injuries, again, from starters and relievers and major leaguers and minor leaguers, pro and amateur levels. Basically, the entire baseball ecosystem is what they're looking at here. They realize that this problem might be showing most at the major league level and at the minor league level, but it exists across the entire timeline of a baseball player's career. The study included expertise from baseball pitchers, from doctors, trainers, agents, and biomechanists. Like, they really tried to go the full spectrum here of understanding everybody's opinion, because there are some differing thoughts and ideas behind what's going on here, but they're trying to get the full picture here so that they can try and get to some resolutions here. They tracked player injuries and also the timing of injuries, the nature of injuries. They've really been paying more attention now to what's been going on. Instead of brushing it off and saying, well, this is happening and we'll figure it out, now they're trying to get very specific and granular on these issues, and they've even identified potential rule changes, things they could do in Major League Baseball that might trickle down through the system that might impact the health and arm health of pitchers across all baseball levels. Obviously, like I said before, baseball has acknowledged this is only a first step. Nothing here in this report is necessarily new, but like I said before, it's quite refreshing to hear the game and the league admit this as a problem and really point out all the details and not try and hide or run from them. So this is baseball's first real proactive step to keeping pitchers healthy. Let me just throw out 3 personal beliefs, and I don't know that this video is necessarily going to have like a takeaways section like I normally save for the end and my thoughts. I'm going to give you just my thoughts right here, right now. Consistent, dominant starting pitchers. Now, I don't mean to take relievers and closers out of the equation here, but at the major league level, the consistent, dominant starting pitcher just does not exist like it used to. Where's the Randy Johnson? Where's the Dave Stewart? Where's the Roger Clemens? And I could go on, but pitchers just don't last. There are great pitchers, but they're good for half a season at a time or 2 seasons, and then that's it. And normally it's because they burn out. There's an injury we do know about. There's an injury we don't know about. They suffer dead arm. I mean, there's just a lot of different things, but they don't last like they used to. They don't exist like they used to. And I had been saying, well, they don't make them like they used to, but that's not true. I think pitchers these days, they do more, they take care of themselves, maybe even better than pitchers did in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, but they're just not lasting because they are way overexerting on a regular basis. And that's my next point here. I'm a believer that it's either velocity or spin rate or pitch counts or all of the above that could all be part of a huge baseball issue here. It doesn't necessarily have to be just one of these things. I hear the argument all the time. Is it just velocity? Well, that could be a large part of the equation, but maybe not the only thing. How about spin rate and the amount of torque on elbows constantly that's taking place with more breaking pitches, and now that we're measuring spin rate a lot more accurately? And then how about pitch counts? It's actually opposite of what you think. I'm saying lower pitch counts, like the 100-pitch mark is usually the point where a starter has to come out of the game, right? Their arm is going to fall off after 100. Nobody is trained and paced to be able to throw 150 pitches anymore, like even in a side session. Like, who would do that? But if you never stretch yourself out to 150, how do you think you'll do when you get to 100 for the first time in a game? When else has a pitcher thrown 100 pitches all season long, minus an actual game where there's 100 pitches and at that velocity, right? At that exertion level. So I'm saying pitch counts being low is the deal, not longer pitch counts. So again, all 3 of those things, they add up to the problem. It's not one or the other. It's probably a combination of all 3 of those things for different situations and people. And I also want to make this as my last point here. Nothing here is going to change unless the culture changes, because at this point, velocity is valued, spin rate is valued, power pitching is valued. And if that's what the scouts are looking for, and that's how the jobs are going to come for high school players into college and college players into the minor leagues and minor leaguers to get promoted into the major leagues, then nothing's going to change. This has to be a systemic change in the culture of baseball, and that's going to be hard to implement, right? I don't even know if specific rule changes can necessarily take care of that, but this is a deep, deep problem. It got here in a deep level. It's rooted in a deep level. It's going to take a while to dig this out and fix it up. All right, pitcher injured list placements from 2017 to 2024. And there's two timings here. On the left of your screen, it's spring training through opening day. I mean, look how many pitchers were injured from the start of spring training to opening day last year, more than 110. And you look at the entire season last year. Now, this is the right half of the graph here. Day 2 through the end of the World Series, only about, let's say, 350. So 110 plus just during spring training before opening day, and only 350 through the course of the rest of the year. And look at the trend on the left. I mean, in 2017, that's not that long ago. And we'll throw out the 2020 data because that doesn't really exist. But it has dramatically spiked. It's going up, up, up. And what does that tell you? Pitchers are simply not doing the right things. They're either, I don't want to say not ready, but something's going on about what they are or are not doing before spring training so that when they get there, I mean, that is very clear to see that spring training injuries for pitchers and IL placements has gone way up since 2017. Now, on the other side, we did have that spike in 2021, but you can also see a decrease of in-season pitcher injuries or IL placements through the regular season. But again, the proportion of spring training injuries versus regular season injuries, that's something to take note of. And we also see it here, average pitcher injured list placements by month. Now, this is from 2010 to 2024. So we've got a really big scope, a longer time period to look at here. And yeah, you can see elbow injuries definitely spike February into March. They go down in April once the season has started, but spring training is a real problem. You can also see there that into August, into the dog days, into the 190 innings mark, maybe 170 innings mark for a starter, that fatigue might play a factor at the end. That's that second spike. But clearly the elbow injuries and other injuries, they both time out at the very beginning of seasons. Here's Major League pitcher injured list placements and days. How long are they on the injured list for? And this is a cumulative total, right? So it seems pretty intimidating to think, well, 15,000, 25,000, 35,000 days. This is when you add up all the days missed by respective pitchers. And look at the trend. From 2005, I mean, back then it was around 200 and something placements and, 230 days, let's say. Now we're basically more than double that as of 2024. And actually, I should have said this from the start. Let me be a little bit more clear here on this graph. The placements are on the left, right? So about 200 days versus 500 days now. So that has doubled. But the quantity of days, like the total days, that's on the right-hand side here. We've gone from, about 12,000, maybe 15,000 days to 30,000. So the quantity of placements and the timing of days has basically doubled since 2005. I don't know that this trend is going in the opposite direction anytime soon. You can see it's only climbing. And this is easily something we've understood, but it's good to see baseball pointing this out just like everybody else has. So if it comes down to velocity and grip of the baseball, gripping it tighter, exerting your arm, your elbow even more, we can also see that the average fastball and non-fastball velocity from 2008 to 2024 has gone up. And a couple miles per hour is a huge difference. For a four-seamer, a slider has gone up a couple miles an hour. Even breaking pitches, I mean, optimally, you'd probably still like your Uncle Charlie, your yellow hammer, your bender, your curveball. You'd like that to probably still be at 75.7 on average, but even that is now touching about 80 miles an hour. A changeup has gone from low 80s to mid 80s. Actually, as a pitcher, you'd rather have your fastball go up and your off-speed pitch stay the same or go down. You'd rather have that velo separation to throw off a hitter's timing. But the point is, all of that stuff has gone up. Every pitch, not just the fastballs, every pitch, the velocity has gone up. And look at the major league and minor league UCL surgeries. This is Tommy John surgeries from 2010 to 2024. Now, at the major league level, it's kind of gone up and down. 2012 was a crazy year, but then it stayed pretty consistent through most of the mid-2010s. However, at the major league level, it's now gone up. We're past the 40 mark. Look at the minor league level in blue. And again, we'll throw out 2020. That was an abnormal year, but 21, 22, 23, 24. I don't know that has doubled, but that has dramatically spiked at the minor league level. And at the minor league level, I don't know if they're preparing pitchers like they used to for pitching in the major leagues, or they're certainly not taking care of these arms the right way. This is not even to point fingers at one organization or another. This is a cultural problem of baseball. Let's get into some of the quotes here. And again, all these are anonymous in this report because they didn't want to call anybody out. They didn't want to make this more controversial and personal. They wanted to really address the issue here. Here's what an orthopedic surgeon had to say. Quote, "I think there are a lot of factors. There's no question that if we take the simplest thing, which is fastball velocity, you can see how the average increase in fastball velocity has completely paralleled the increased incidence of injury. If you could take one factor, it's that." Here's what a pitching coach said, quote, "We understand throwing harder increases your injury risk. That's true at a population level. Now, for the overwhelming majority of human beings on Earth who aspire to play baseball at a serious level, that trade-off is worth it." Right? That's the cultural issue I'm talking about, how to change this out of baseball. Here's what a former big league pitcher said, quote, "I used to pitch to chase outs. Now they chase velocity. I had to play a chess match to try and get 24 or 27 outs. Now it's a sprint to go as hard as you can, as long as you can. Starters have a relievers mentality now," end quote. Here's another orthopedic surgeon. "They have such a faith in the Tommy John procedure, they're willing to sacrifice their own elbow, knowing if they wind up tearing it, they can get it fixed. They figure it's worth it. It's what I've got to do to be an elite pitcher, which is throw 100 miles an hour on every pitch or as hard as I can on every pitch and take my chances. And if I get hurt, I'll get it fixed." Right? That is a kind of crazy mentality. But again, Tommy John surgeries are almost a rite of passage at this point for professional baseball pitchers. So here are some of the suggestions that the research lays out. And again, it also realizes that these are not final conclusions. Better health is likely for starters and pitchers through sub-maximum effort, like not throwing as hard as you can every single pitch, and going deeper in games, like I said before, past the normal pitch counts that we could expect. Problems need to be addressed well before the Major League Baseball level. I fully concur with that. Surgical advancements aren't always a guarantee. Like, we can't keep going to science to try and fix this problem. We need to fix the problem so that science can help make the problem better. And also this research suggests that more cardio training and less power and strength focused training are the answer here to build up endurance rather than strength and power and quick impact, is to try and build up pitchers to be more cardio strong than strength and burst strong. So look, again, to conclude, I don't know that we learned anything new or surprising or shocking here. It's just good to see baseball finally addressing this, finally understanding it is a huge problem. Their game is so much different now. Who are the most popular players? Name me, you saw Paul Skeens there. How many other starting pitchers, especially, are big name baseball players these days? How many jerseys are being sold? It's a hitter's league because pitchers just don't last. I miss the days of pitchers being prominent, and that's just not the case for starters especially. Okay, thumbs up because you made it here to the end of this video. Really appreciate that. That helps me, this video, this channel down below. Also go down there and make sure that you've already hit that subscribe button. That way I can definitely see you back here next time.